Welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing 3 amazing slider recipes. So the first slider recipe is for turkey and Swiss. This recipe is going to start out by making your base, which is going to be about 3 tablespoons of mayo. You can use whichever kind is your favorite, and then to that mustard. Normally I would use a grainy mustard, but I didn't have any on hand, so I used Dijon mustard, and it was amazing. So I'm definitely going to make it like this again. So that was a happy accident that happened. But you just want to stir those together to combine, and then that's going to be the base for the slider. So I went ahead and split my King Hawaiian rolls in half and then put that into a 13x9 pan. Then I put down that base that we made of the mayo and mustard, and I'm topping it now with some turkey. You could use ham here or whatever kind of lunch meat that you like. What I love about this recipe is it's completely customizable to what you and your family enjoy, so the sky's the limit for the possibilities here. All 3 of these slider recipes are really good, but this one happened to be the favorite of my husband. I think that he loved this one the most because of that mixture of the mayo with the mustard, and then also the topping that we're going to put on it at the end. So now you're going to put down your cheese. I'm using Swiss, but again, customize it using whatever kind that you prefer. And then you're going to top it with the other half of your Hawaiian rolls. And then now we're going to make up our butter mixture. So to some melted butter, I did about 3 tablespoons of melted butter. I added Worcestershire sauce, salt, pepper, onion, and garlic powder. You have to add the Worcestershire sauce. It gives such a great flavor to these sliders, and that's why I think that they were my husband's favorite. So the last step is just to brush that butter mixture on top of the sliders. Do not skimp here. This bakes down and is so good once it's cooked in the oven, so make sure that you use it all. And then I'm going to pop it into a 350-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until the cheese starts to melt and everything is warm. Next up are the pesto chicken sliders. So this recipe cannot get any easier, and this one happened to be one of my favorites because I love pesto. So same thing, I'm just splitting the King Hawaiian rolls in half, and then I'm going to put some pesto on the bottom half. I am making it a little bit thick, but that's because I'm only putting the sauce on the one side. So once you have that added, you're going to add on some chicken. I made this recipe super simple by utilizing a rotisserie chicken, and I just shredded the meat from the breast to use for this recipe. If you want to make it yourself, you can do that as well, but I love the ease of rotisserie chicken and I love the flavor of it too. So the next layer is cheese. I chose to use some sliced mozzarella because I knew that I would love the flavor of it with the pesto. And then for the butter topping for this one, I'm just using a couple tablespoons of melted butter. To that, some Italian seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. Just like the previous recipe, you're just going to put the top of your sliders on and then brush it with your melted butter mixture. This is again going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until the cheese melts. The last slider recipe I'm going to share today is for meatball sliders, and just like the other 2, this is super quick and easy to do. So I started off again with the King's Hawaiian rolls sliced in half, and then to the bottom I'm just going to add some marinara sauce. You can use whatever your favorite is here. And then for the meatballs, I ended up buying frozen meatballs and then baking them in the oven before I needed them for this recipe. You can make them fresh if you like, but it's definitely not necessary. If you have frozen meatball that you like, I would use it here. Another thing that I loved about all of these sliders is that they bake at the same temperature for pretty much the same amount of time. So if you want to make a few different options for your get-together or for your family, you can do that very easily. The cheese that I'm using for this slider recipe is again the sliced mozzarella. And then once I top it with the bread, the butter mixture is also going to be the same that I did for the last recipe with the pesto chicken. So same thing of butter, Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. But the only difference is I am going to top it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese after I do the butter before going into the oven. Same thing with this recipe, it's going to be going into a 350-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until the cheese is melted and the top is golden brown. These 3 recipes are so quick and easy to make and are packed full of flavor. I know that you and your friends would love these recipes for like a game day get together, or if you're just watching the game with your family, I highly recommend them. They're definitely crowd pleasers. Please let me know in the comments down below if you give any of these recipes a try. I would really love to know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you go.